Hey everyone. I think it's Thursday. Um and I'm excited about this interview. I always have such a wonderful time with Andrea. I feel like we've been sisters for well, we're only like 35, so let's just say 35 years. Um, and so these conversations are always fun. We are both in the boot camp and we're both in the Wild Woman Play Shop and got to have a lot of fun with that last night. And so this conversation is about like, what do we do with this feeling of what's next? You know, we hit a goal of I finished chiropractic college. I opened my own practice. I got married. I had one kid. I had two kids. I have three kids. They're in college. Like, what's next? And what has been your experience with the feeling of what's next? And let's talk about the feeling of what's next 10 years ago versus what's next now.
That's such a good question. So 10 years ago, I guess it looked quite different because my kids were younger. So it was maybe helping them to kind of do the path of high school and college and stuff like that. I actually 10 years ago had a 5-year-old. So yeah, I was 35. Um,
Crazy.
yeah. And then it just changes, I think, as your family life changes and you grow up and you realize your strengths and your weaknesses. And how can you improve on those weaknesses, or how can you improve on your strengths so that you could serve at a higher level for whatever that may be, whether it's your family or your church or your coaching or your practice and your patients. So I think for me it's how can I do it better, or how do I zone in onto what really is my niche, or what really is going to be the best way for me to serve my family and my patients. But I don't feel that I could do it all by myself. So it's really nice to have such a strong women's network within the boot camp and the Wild Women to support you, to run questions and answers off of each other. And, we all have a day that doesn't go the way we'd like it to go. And to have that tribe and those people to kind of say, hey, it's okay. Sometimes these things happen. It's great to have that. So I have to say, I've had a great journey on that Wild Woman.
Yeah, let's talk more about it. What have you loved about it? And let's first just describe what was and what is the Wild Woman Play Shop?
Well, that's a good question. You should probably answer that.
Yeah.
For me, it's a lot of fun and a lot of learning. So that's the way I would describe it. I've learned a lot about myself, and I've learned a lot about the support system. Because honestly, as a single practitioner in chiropractic, as a woman, it can kind of get lonely sometimes, or you think you're not having uh, what the issues you may be going through other people aren't experiencing. So it's been nice to have that. I mean, some of my best friends are chiropractors, of course, but it's really nice to also have the tribe as
Mm.
well. So I think having that on a regular basis really helps you um, bring your strengths to fruition, and bring your goals and your thoughts and your dreams. Because sometimes your dreams can get lost if you're feeling a little bit alone. And with the Wild Women, I feel like my goals and my dreams, and with the boot camp, have all been they've all been on the forefront because of everything we've been doing. I haven't I've never been able to like let it slide back and be like, oh, I don't really want to do that. Well, Dr. Barb gets right in your face along with the tribe, like, oh yeah, you do want to do that, and you should probably do it 10x it. So okay.
That's funny. Sometimes Dr. Barb gets stuck in her thinking too and says like, "I'm throwing up the white flag." So what does keep you going?
Well, I have a great family. You know how tight I am with my family. I've got 3 really great kids, and my husband's an awesome chiropractor too. We've known each other 30 years. We met in chiropractic school and been married over 25. So I think that's a big thing, and your relationship with God. I think that's really important too, whatever that may be. And having a tribe and having a place to ask questions and bounce ideas off of is really important. Other people to share with, because my next 10 years, hopefully, I'm growing my practice again, which is great. It's a great problem to have. So trying to help more pregnant women and infants and just really grow that niche because I think it's so important and so needed. And we're really the only people who can serve that community so well is chiropractors and working with doulas and midwives and pelvic floor PTs. It's a wonderful place to be. So I'm planning on taking it to the next level, maybe a few levels up at this point. And the tribe has really helped me to see that I can do that.
Mm.
You just got to breathe and make good choices and have a great tribe. And we're going to stumble. Of course, we're going to stumble, but it's nice to have people that help pick you up along the way.
Yeah. I find that individuals who are living on an island have, um, unrealistic expectations of themselves and even the people around them. And so here's what I mean, like, even even like, like if we take our big boot camp and then we break it into also like the Wild Woman Play Shop, like there's certain things that we know we're gonna show up for in the boot camp to get that met in our life. Whether
Hmm.
it's the desire to, Andrea and I both been at this for a long time, so the desire and the passion to help others, right? To like put our hand down and pull them up. Um, there's there's also like in the Wild Woman Play Shop that ability just to take off the masks with other women and say like, hey, this is what's happening for me, and good, bad, or indifferent, like this is just who I am, like no facade, no masks, no masquerade. And my experience is that if we don't have those outlets in our life, we put a lot of pressure on our relationships.
Hmm.
My sister has always said, "Don't expect your husband to be your best girlfriend." And what great advice. It seems really simple, but like he's not my best girlfriend. He's my lover. He's not
Yeah.
even my best friend. I can have lots of other best friends, but he is my lover. He's my husband. And there's only one person on the planet that can do that. And so within the context, like that's the role that he fills in my life and that I fill in his life. But if we're looking for another person to be all of these things, it's too much. And I've obviously watched you and Tim in action, and there's this beautiful dance that the 2 of you do while also being really independent, um,
Hmm. For sure.
where there isn't there's a co-creation, but not a codependency.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and so let's speak to that. Like, how do you navigate all of those different roles that you play in your life? And because I also know that we can't show up as one person here and another person here. Like at all times, we have all our hats on. Talk about that of
Uh,
the all the different roles that you play. How do you navigate that?
Personally,
Yeah.
I try to I try to um like breath work and journal a little bit. Not as much as I would like to, but I definitely try to do a little yoga, a little breath work. But I think communication is really important too. You know, people can't read your mind. If you're having a crappy day and you're just feeling certain things, you have to share that with either your husband or your best friend or your 22-year-old son or your office manager. Like they can't read your mind. If you didn't sleep last night and you're having some hot sweats or something and you show up to the office and you're feeling all crappy, like tell your office manager that. Say, today's been a really rough night for me last night. Or if you were me 20 something years ago and you show up to your office and you're like, the baby's been up all night, I've been nursing all night, I'm tired. Like let people lift you up when you need it, because as much as you want to do everything, you just can't let other people help you or take things off your plate. Some of the best advice I think I heard from several people along the way, but you just mentioned it to me earlier. Time is important too. If you can't handle everything, what can you buy for your time? Let somebody cut your grass. Let Instacart your groceries. Let somebody clean your bathrooms at home. You don't have to do all those things anymore. I,
Yeah.
I don't think you should have to sacrifice everything anymore. And definitely communicate with people if you're going through something, because no one can read your mind. We saw that last night, and through this whole wild woman, sometimes we're all feeling different things. And if we share it, we know how to support each other better.
Yes. And so cultivating those relationships are
Sure.
so critical. And the what does that have to do with what's next? Culting the
Well, I mean, a few things that you've always taught us is strategic partners. They're your strategic partners, but they're also the people you work with, and they're your friends. Over the last 5 years, some of my best referrals and great acquaintances and the people that I can text are, some of the strategic partners. Pop in and ask a lactation consultant this question, or I'm texting a pediatric PT, oh, can you check this girl for me? Can you help me out with this? Or, I'm calling up one of um, our acupuncturists, and I'm talking to her about a patient or whatever, going down the hallway for me and checking in with our cranial sacral person. Like, it's just, those relationships are just really important at work and at home.
Yes.
Of course, it's important with your spouse. Of course, it's important with your parents and your children, and your fellow neighbors and friends. But it's really important in the business world too. And that's
Yes.
something that the tribe really works hard to try to teach people and emphasize the importance of appreciating and sharing, and sending your thank yous and gratitude to the people who are helping you on the journey for your niche of who you're going to care for.
Yes. And and remember um at this stage of my life, I'm like, you know what? Life is actually really long. When I was young, I remember being in undergrad, and interestingly enough, my chiropractor was in town where I went to school at Michigan State University, and he was in town for a CE event. I didn't know what that was. And I remember going out to dinner with him, and I was telling him, like, I just wish undergrad was done and I was done with law school and I was already practicing. And he listened, he was quite a bit older than I was. And he's like, "What's the rush? Why are you rushing all of this?" And it was just always something that made me like slow down and be like, huh, I wonder what is the rush. And then I graduated in 4 years. And I remember my best buddy, he was like, I'm like, "Yay, I'm done." He's like, "That was a dumb move." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Why would you want to leave this?" I'm like, "Oh, what am I doing?" I wanna go back to undergrad because that's a pretty fun place.
Uh-huh.
I think it's so important, as we look at what's next, well, what is the experience I wanna have, and what is the big promise I have said my life is gonna be like when I'm there? Like, when my practice is, serving 100 people a week, and then it's 250 people a week, and then it's, like, "Okay, I'm married, now what?" And I think we forget to enjoy that experience, and to recognize that when we get there, we're the ones that create the experience on the inside anyway. So we don't have to get there to have the feeling on the inside. What have you learned, whether through the boot camp or even Wild Woman Play Shop, about our experience of life and the action that we take?
Hmm, good question. Huh. Well, at least in the last couple of weeks, and some of it I probably didn't even notice, but maybe you and Demi kind of introduced us to it, is um, we were talking a lot about like the flow and the feelings that you have, and how you can kind of pick and choose what you want to bring in, and it's all just in our thoughts. Like, our thoughts are happening, but it's all just thought, and it's all just, are we going to take this thought in, are we going to take that thought in, and how is that thought going, how are we going to let that thought into our kind of heart center, for me, like, because that's where I get the warming, where we talked about how to just appreciate all those things. So for me, I guess, as I'm getting older, I'm trying to choose the thoughts that are only serving myself and serving my niche and serving my family and keeping me more in my flow and more my peace and my ease at this point, because I don't really want to be stressed out anymore, and I don't want to feel rushed, and I don't want to feel like I have to do everything, because you do that for years, and now you're like, where, like you said, where to get me? Okay, I got to get to the next thing, got to get to the next thing, got to get to the next thing. Like,
Yeah.
let's just chill out where we are and enjoy it. Enjoy
Yeah.
your kids at 4 and enjoy your kids at 7 and enjoy your marriage at 6 years and 12 years and 20 years and enjoy your practice. And, it's not going to be great every day, but pick and choose. I don't have to let the negative stay. I have a very wise old grandma. Before she passed, she always says, remember, it's Monday, Thursday, and it can all be good or it can all be bad, but you get to choose, because
Yeah.
grandpa was home Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So she would say, I get to choose. I'm with the kids. Am I choosing to walk in peace and happiness, or am I going to choose to go, 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 go? Okay, now dad's home, grandpa's home. Okay, now we can relax. But no, you get to pick and choose. And that's something that I think you guys have kind of introduced us to, is to go in your flow, stay kind of in your flow, and keep the peace. Let yourself kind of be more in the peace.
Yes, like the grabbiness.
Yeah, don't yeah, don't
Right?
grab onto all that stuff.
Yeah, you can just let it flow. It doesn't need to have meaning unless you decide it has meaning. And for those of you who are watching now or will watch this later, if you're like, "Oh, it's easy for you 2 to say," you're on the other side of your career. What do you say to that?
What do I say to that? Well, if you can learn what we're learning sooner, good for you. Like,
Yes.
if
Right.
you could do it at 35 and you can walk in peace and go with the flow, then when you're 50 something, then you're going to just be so much more at peace and have so many more wonderful memories, and you're just going to be where you want to be faster. So if you can learn it sooner, great. I mean, I wish I knew some of the things that I'm learning now. I wish I knew 15, 20 years ago.
And to me, what that says is the, "Oh, it's easy for you to say you're not where I'm at." You're right. We're not staying up all night with a crying baby, a nursing baby, a sick baby. You're absolutely right. We're on the other side, and we have a lot of wisdom to share. It's like I used to say to my kids, um, when I mean, this is the idea. If they're getting their information from somebody their age, you're on a level playing field. They have the same view that you do, which
Hmm.
doesn't mean there's wisdom and experience there, right? There's something really beautiful about this stage of life, and not saying we have all the answers, but
Mm-mm.
we have a lot of answers, right? And we have done the, uh, work yourself broke. We have done the grind, 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 grind. We have done the sacrifice and make it up later. And we now have a new perspective of how we could do it better, right?
Hmm.
And sometimes you do have to go through it to get over it. But if there's a way to shortcut the wound along the way, listen up. Like, in my opinion, like, be around, it's kind of like, if you're the wealthiest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. If you're in a room with just others who are doing exactly what you're doing at the level you're doing, you're probably not learning what this is like. So
Hmm.
be around other if you're a woman, be around other older women who've already done what you've done, and they can share with you their insight. Like, some of our friends, Justin Gibbons, actually your son and husband would love his show. It's called Limitless Outdoors. It's a YouTube show. Do they know that one?
I don't know.
Oh, um, he's an amazing, just an awesome Austin Christian man that does these epic hunts, and then, like,
I would
throughout the
like
hunt,
that.
he's
Hunts.
always Yeah. He's always like, talking about the Lord and about scripture. And so we've gotten to know he and his wife over the last several years. So anytime they're in Alaska, they just stay here. We call it like the Gibbons place downstairs because like they're the only ones that use our whole lower level. And we were just talking about how when we were all growing up, there was very much a part of the older people teach the younger people.
Mhm.
And I think that's been lost in our society. And I just feel like there's so much wisdom that is going to waste if those of us who've already been that route aren't sharing, and if those individuals who are coming up don't listen.
Yeah.
So as we wrap this up, Andrea, what advice do you have for the person who's stuck on that what's next roller coaster ride?
What's next roller coaster? Well, if it if it has to do with, what's next in practice, or how am I going to grow the practice, or what do I need to do, I definitely think they should jump on a call or check out um, the boot camp, because we have some really great live events, and we have really great marketing things, and pretty much anything you could think of is on the website, as far as how to run your practice, or how to talk to your patients, or how to reschedule patients, or talk to your staff, or anything you can imagine is on there. So really dive in if you are feeling stuck or lonely or lost or something like that. I can't say enough good things. I started this last practice um, like 3 months before I started the last practice that I started inside the birth center. You and I got on a call, and I was like, you know what? I just don't want to start this one all by myself. I need structure, and I need help, and because it's going to be different than my last one. And, I want to do things a little bit different this time. And it's been great for me. It's been something I show up for almost every week, and
Yeah.
something I try to be part of as much as I can live. And I think it's a wonderful thing for whether you're 50 or you're 30, jump
Yeah.
on in, and everybody's really kind and they're sweet. So, you'll
Yeah.
find different people for different things. And I really think it's a great place for a lot of women to find other women in the profession.
Yes. And to learn that there are actually a lot of good women out there.
There are. There
You
sure
know,
are.
by my I don't know if ashamedly or not, like I was saying last night, until the boot camp, I never really had really, really great female friends. Yes, acquaintances and a few really great friends from home, but for the most part, it's been my sister, my best friend. And the boot camp and, like the deeper stuff that some of us do together has really just shown me like, man, there's so many good women who who are really up against a lot of the same things and it feels so good just to like meet heart to heart and to accept each other where like where each one of us is and to love our way through to the next day, the next year, the next month, and I
Yeah.
wanna say thank you to you that despite the fact that you know pretty much everything in practice, you still show up on Wednesdays
No,
and
right?
help others and still, go into breakout rooms for role playing and rehearsal and what many of you don't know behind the scenes is I do the breakout rooms, right? Like, so I'm always pairing the right people up, which is part of the bonus of being Mama Boot Camp because I know everyone so well that I know who needs help and I know who needs support and it's just beautiful to see everyone together in our tribe. So, any last minute words you want to share with anyone?
No, I just want to say thank you. It's been a great journey for me. And, even though I have been in it a while, I do learn something every week. So it's not, and I think, like you said, if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to find a new room. So in this room, I always feel like there's somebody that knows something about some topic to help. And in this big room, there's always been somebody that you're interviewing, or somebody that you're bringing on from a book, or a coach, or a financial person, or a CPA. Like I'm thankful for all of that, because there's always something to learn. And I think we all have something to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Andrea, thank you so much. Tell your family I said hello and have a wonderful
Certainly.
weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks,
Good night.
everyone. Have a nice
Good night.
evening. Bye.
Bye.